model only functions as the effective ploy of neoliberal finance capital. The seemingly pragmatist or accommodationist stance, which says that English, we should use English for practical purposes, we needed to train people to be employed in the call centers or work as domestics in Hong Kong, or they prefer Filipinos in Hong Kong, Singapore, because we are able to speak English of a sort, as the quote Senator Giorno. But this, I think, this stance of legitimizing English only serves neo-colonial goals. That is, the Filipino as a world citizen functioning as compensation for the lack of effective national sovereignty. Its obverse is regional or ethnic separatism, which is what we have. So one opting to be independent, so forth and so on. So I think this culturalist program, often linked to NGOs and deceptive philanthropic schemes require dialectical mediation, posits an abstract universality, though disguised in a self-satisfied particularism now in vogue among post-colonial deconstructionists, and so forth and so on. We discover in time that this trend, that is, the Filipino is supposed to be a world citizen, but at the same time a citizen of a subordinate country. This trend serves as a useful adjunct for enhancing the fetishistic image and seductive lure of commodities, from brand name luxury goods to the whole world of images, sounds, and multimedia theatrical discoveries and confections, manufactured by the transnational cultural industry and marketed as symbolic capital for the petty bourgeoisie of the periphery and other suborganized sectors within the metropolis. Spanish and English are global languages needed for communication and participation in world affairs. This is accepted by everyone, but, well, including French, of course. They are recognized as richly developed languages of aesthetic and intellectual power, useful for certain purposes, English particularly in the scientific and technical fields. But they have a political history and resonance for third world peoples, like the Philippines, who have suffered from their uses. Its sedimented patterns of thought and action cannot so easily be ignored or elided. The discursive genres of law, business, liturgy, pedagogy in English, and their institutionalized instrumentalities cannot be judged on their own terms without understanding the political role they play and have played, or they continue to play, as effective instruments in the colonial domination of the various peoples in the Philippines and their total subordination to the political cultural hegemony in the beginning of the Spanish Empire, in the case of Spanish, and of course of the American Empire from 1899 to 1946, and of U.S. neo-colonial control after formal independence in 1946. Everyone knows that while Rizal used Spanish to reach an enlightened Spanish public and an Ilustrado-influenced audience, the masses who participated in Malolos Republic and the war against the Americans Spaniards used Tagalog and other vernaculars in fighting for cultural autonomy and national independence. Historically, the national and democratic project of the Philippine Revolution, still unfinished and continuing, provides the only viable perspective within which we can explore the need for a national language as a means of uniting and mobilizing the people for this project. I'm reaching the end. Kailangang idiin ang prinsipyo ng national popular, pambansang makamasa, ang bansa na binubuos pinapatubayan ng masang walang pag-aari, mga manggagawa, magsasaka, ng sangay, mga professional, petty burgesyang uri, mga minorya. Kung hindi ang bansa ay magbibigyan kahulugan ng mga naghaharing uri, ang iilan na nagmamay-ari, ang oligarkong tuta ng imperialismo, mga ahente ng global finance capital. Ang bansang Pilipinas na may kasarilan at matipunong industriya ay isang proyektong di patapos. Nagpapatuloy, laging iniimbento ngunit hindi sa anumang kondisyon. Ang pagiging Pilipino ay isang proseso ng dekolonisasyon at demokratisasyong radikal, isang kaganapan na likha ng kolektibong pagpapasya, hindi individual na kagustuhan. Ang proyektong ito ay hinuhubog at niyayari ng maraming lakas ng minanang ugali at sari-saring ideya at institusyon, katutubo o hiram. Hindi ito nakatutok sa pagtatamo ng isang esensya, kundi makikilatis ito bilang isang masalimuot na pagbubuklod ng dinamikong pakikisamang pampolitika at mga commitment. Ito ay isa ring estetikong kalakaran sa kontragahong ng paglikhang makasining. Sa loob lamang ng pangitain ito sa proyekto ng pagsisikap makakamit ang tunay na pambansang kasarinlan at demokrasyang radikal na makatuturang maghihimay ng mga problema ng pangangailangan ng wikang pambansa, isang wikang mabisang makapag-iisa sa masa at mga komunidad sa teritorya ng Pilipinas na makapagdudulot ng mabisang partisipasyon sa pagbuo ng isang lideratong moral o intelektual ng masang manggagawa. Paano mayayari ang mapagpalayang gahong kung walang pagkakaisang kinakatawan o kumakatawan sa sariling wika ng komunikasyon at pag-iisip? The use and promotion of a national language does not imply the neglect, elimination, or inferiorization of other regional languages spoken and used by diverse communities involved in the national democratic struggle. In other words, people, Filipino, and so forth, are not downgraded because there is a need for a national language that would unite all the people participating in the struggle. In fact, it implies their preservation and cultivation. But this is contingent on the attainment of genuine national sovereignty and the emancipation of the masses, their integration into active participation in governance. Meanwhile, in the course of the national liberation struggle, all languages should be and are being used for mobilization, political education, and cultural self-affirmation. Simultaneously, the dissemination and development of one national language becomes a political and economic cultural necessity for unifying the diverse communities under a common political program, which does not imply a monolithic ideological unity in front of the monstrous power of finance capital using English as an instrument, English of course in other languages, as an instrument of subordination and neo-colonial aggression. So in this regard, I would argue that the unity and collective pride attendant on the use of one national language, which is in process of emergence, provides the groundwork and fundamental requisite for the promotion and development of other ethnic and regional languages within the national polity. I think this is a psychological and ideological imperative that cannot be deferred. Finally, hegemony, the moral and intellectual leadership of the Filipino working masses, the scaffold within which an authentic Filipino identity can grow,